All right. Over to you, Benson. I know you've already talked about it, and it seems like clearly the market is already saying that, they prefer to see, young talent with certifications that are coming from Google, and I'm sure also from Moringa as well. So we've seen that the government and the private sector are spearheading initiatives like Ajira that give access to training and dignified jobs. Are there other initiatives that you've seen that can be modeled in increasing the availability and linkages to jobs?
Absolutely. So let me start by stating that I think the future is in collaborations between government, startups, private sector, corporates, if we want to make a leapfrog in terms of skills development for Kenya and for Africa at large. Having said that, I think some of the case studies that I would take a quick peek at, starting with what Perminus has mentioned, the Google Digital Skills for Africa. We made a commitment of scaling up 1 million people with digital skills across Africa. It looks like an ambitious, very ambitious plan, but trust me, we are on course. And I'm happy that there's a lot of traction, because these are courses that would not only necessarily focus on advanced tech skills, but will enable the normal day-to-day operations of a mama mboga to know how to, go about computing, do their spreadsheets, go online and maybe source their products and so on and so forth. Of course, I would definitely like to highlight the Google Africa Developer Scholarship that I've previously mentioned, a very, very insightful program that we've been running for the last 2 years. We're in the middle of it now. We are just concluding cohort number 2. Next year, we'll be opening up more applications to at least 50,000 learners, and hoping to see 30,000 learners skilled up with tech skills in the areas of mobile web in Android, mobile application development in Android, web, tech, and cloud as well. And we're also introducing a machine learning track for next year. Quickly, Agnes, I love what the government has done with the presidential digital internship, for example, as a program, where we are able to tap into the skills that are within our youth or our young learners and presenting them with opportunities. Because at the back of it all, we need to also talk about opportunities, as you've mentioned. I know Andela is doing a fantastic work with the marketplace in terms of placement. The Ringa School as well, I've seen a lot of initiatives that they have done in terms of talking to the demand side and telling them, hey, look, these are the type of skills that we are developing. Probably you guys need to consider. I love what Perminus has mentioned, that nowadays the new normal is online learning, online certificates. They are really highly appreciated, and we've made that advancement away from the brick and mortar, having to sit down for 4 years, for example, to get a particular skill for you to get hired. So those are some of the highlights. We have fantastic initiatives that are coming on board with people who are bold enough to make training moves in advanced technologies. I mentioned the Africa Center for Advanced Technology. I know what they are doing in terms of even digital wellness, training in terms of digital wellness. And their training is not only based to people who are using tech, but even for parents, for example, as our kids are home. Do parents know about online safety and so on and so forth? So there are a couple of case studies that we can learn from, but ideally, I'm really happy that we have a lot of collaboration between government, private sector, corporate, and even startup environment, especially in Kenya. Thank you.
Great, and I like what you said about future is definitely in collaboration. It requires joint effort, and we're proud as Andela to be partnering with Google to run the Google Africa Developer Scholarship Program. Any last parting shots from any of the from the panelists before we move on to our Q&A section?
Sure. I think one of the key takeaways, because I know that some of the people in the audience are youth who are, coming to figure out what should I do with the rest of my life. I'd say, as we look towards the future, one of the things you'd realize is that we're going to be moving beyond basic digital skills, right, and moving towards more advanced digital skills. It's obviously going to take a bit of time for that transition to happen. So we do have a bit of time to prepare ourselves as an economy, as a country, as people, but it is a wave that is coming. And it's very important to tap into what is going on, right? So think about things like big data, cloud computing, think about software development, because even as we talk about robotics, I know that can sound a bit scary, but human beings are needed to program what the robots do, right? So yes, definitely acquire the basic digital skills, which are great for the short to medium term, but in the long term, you're going to be seeing more of a shift towards advanced digital skills. So as much as you can position yourself there, please do so. So that would be the pattern shot. Yeah.
For me, the beauty of digital skills is that they are not just relevant for you to be employed. You can become self-employed. For example, I know of several professions who, after looking for a job and they didn't get one, they opted for self-employment in the area of digital marketing. And some of them, they are just starting at the basic level. For example, helping clients with search engine optimization, going through Google courses, and they help clients to advertise online. So as opposed to the traditional, skills where if you're an accountant, you definitely have to wait for a formal job. The beauty of digital skills is the opportunities are endless. It just depends on you.
I totally concur with what Nelly and Perminus have mentioned. From my side, I think it's all about challenging yourself. We are at a stage or an age where in Kenya, we have a lot of opportunities in terms of tech startups, people building their own initiatives. We have an ecosystem that has been built around skills transfer, advanced and necessary skills transfer. Moringa School, for example, where instead of the traditional way of fighting your way through computer science class, you're able to sit down and learn what is necessary for you to probably start your own solutions or your own startups. So I would advise anyone who's within this call, who feels that they're within that line where they want to go tech to sort the helps of the likes of Moringa, who in training, get to know what's happening. We have a very advanced developer ecosystem that is willing to support each other. We have the Google developer groups spread across almost every part of this country. And we would really love to see more and more people plugging and learning and coming up with solutions that will enable us to spur disruptions in Kenya. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you to each of you for all of your responses, which have been really valuable. All right, so moving on to questions. And so I would ask any of the audience right here, please proceed to post your questions so that you get a chance to hear from the panelists who are here. We do have one question from Chesire, which is, the question is, I have heard of machine learning, AI, and robotics. What is the position of 5G and IoT in Kenya as at now? Any working innovations as examples? So I think this one I'll hand it over to Benson and also to Perminus, and even to Nelly if you have any examples that you want to cite here. So over to you, Benson.
Thanks. I would not know of any 5G initiatives that we've launched right now. Again, this is from a personal point of view, not representative of Google at any point. But regarding ML, there's a lot that is happening in Kenya and across Africa. So we are at a stage where, and Nelly will probably attest to this, where we are learning more about the new trends that are coming on board. We have seen people creating solutions to, for example, enable us identify the type of cough that you have. We have such solutions out there in the market. The African startup is well led. Kenya is very advanced in terms of startups and innovations that are there. Most of them are using ML. We've seen machine learning in terms of helping us sort what products go where, what crops are ideally have which disease or infection, and there's a lot that is coming. However, it's a growing phase. We have AI and ML quite fresh in Africa and quite fresh in Kenya, but people are actually making bold moves and learning more. What we are doing as Google at this point is trying to enable you to learn more in those sectors. For example, introducing you to TensorFlow and supporting you to learn TensorFlow so that you're able to develop more solutions using machine learning.
Similar to Benson, I haven't really heard anything around IoT in Kenya, but I know that for 5G, I was reading some news articles earlier on in the year. They mentioned that the government was sourcing for funding. The Kenyan government was sourcing for funding to start building out their architecture for 5G. So I think that there's work that's going on there to prepare the country for it. There's also been Business News Daily also mentioned around some efforts from the telcos. I think Safaricom in particular, doing a bit of trials to see. So I think that there's work being done, especially on the 5G end, to ensure that the infrastructure is ready, and then also that we are able to take advantage of it once it hits. For IoT, I haven't really heard anything about it per se. I know that's more helpful, but for 5G, there's work that's going on to set the foundation.
All right. Doesn't look like we have any other questions. And so we have now come to the end of our webinar and discussion. I want to thank the audience for your engagement here. And on behalf of Adrian, Kenya, and the participants, I also want to extend my deep gratitude to the panelists, Benson, Nelly, and Perminus, for your thoughtful insights on this topic. It has really, really been valuable. I know I've learned quite a bit here, and I'm sure the audience have also learned a lot, and they'll be able to benefit from it. So to all of you, thank you very much, and have a wonderful rest of the day. Goodbye.